evening. I am on a roll with live streams this week, aren't I? Jeez. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Scientology, one of their front groups, has been targeting one of the most deprived areas of London, and that is Croydon. And today we're going to be talking about their front group called United for Human Rights. But first, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. I am getting a symbol up on my screen saying my connection is poor. So please tell me if this is a really bad connection and I will restart the stream. Let me know in the chat, but fingers crossed we can carry on and it's not too bad. SP Crusader Leanie is in the house. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the chat. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Danielle is saying it's fuzzy. It's a little blurry. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me reset my internet connection. I will be right back. Okay, and we are back. Hopefully the connection is a little bit better now. Let me know in the chat if it's better. It shouldn't be fuzzy anymore. Anyway, let's get on with the stream. Lisa Terry is here. Thank you. Good evening, all. I have a question. Talking about fair game, do they ever stop of their own accord if they see it's not stopping the target, i.e. Tony Ortega? As far as I'm aware, fair game doesn't stop as long as you are continuing to expose Scientology's abusives and harmful practices. They will continue fair gaming you. However, they will reassign resources according to how much of a threat they consider you to be. For example, if you're getting a lot of press attention, if there's lots of media articles going out there, documentaries, that sort of thing, they will assign more resources to attacking you. However, if you lay low for a little bit and don't really do much in the way of activism, they will assign less resources to you because they see you as less of a threat. Daniel Chamberlain, hi Danielle, hi Alex and Hand, hi, thank you so much for joining, Danielle. Lots of love going your way at the moment. I'm looking forward to having you on the channel this weekend. Mary K London, hi everyone. Kirby's mum, hi Alex, hi everyone, hi, thank you so much for joining. Good to see some familiar faces, and Sue Denham here as well. Storm Pugglesworth is saying better now, Alex, thank you. Good, thank you for being with me. So let's talk about United for Human Rights. Scientology have a number of front groups: Youth for Human Rights, United for Human Rights, Foundation for a Drug-Free World, which is also known as Truth About Drugs. There's CCHR, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. There's also Narconon, obviously, the drug rehabilitation program. Criminon, the criminal reform program. There's a bunch. I'm probably forgetting some. But they use these social betterment programs, as they're called, to try and be a front for Scientology and prove that they are helping the public. They are serving a public benefit. Even though Scientology was rejected charity status in the UK in 1999, many of their two of their front groups do have charity status in the UK. But let's have a little look at this article. The link is in the description if you want to read along. Now, I have blurred the faces of the people in these photographs on the live stream here so that Scientology can't get away with striking or filing privacy complaints against my channel, because they do that every time someone's face is shown. However, their faces are unblurred on the article because it's only YouTube's guidelines that they like to push, and they can't stop anyone posting something that's in the public interest on a website. Scientologybusiness.com is my blog. Scientology targeting Croydon with human rights message despite abuse allegations. Scientology workers have been spreading propaganda in South London once again, this time under the banner of their United for Human Rights front group. In an article in St. Hiller, the magazine Scientology produces in-house, in which it reports on church news local to its headquarters near East Grinstead, Scientology claims volunteers distributed 1,000 What Are Human Rights booklets in Croydon on Saturday, the 4th of January, and that the public were receptive of the information and curious about it. and the shop owners were very happy to take their booklets for their customers to read. However, it does not confirm whether the volunteers identified themselves as Scientology representatives or disclosed that the material was produced by the church. Now, something just to add on this before we continue is when I was on staff at the Church of Scientology in London, we had many initiatives like this. We would, on the weekends when we weren't working, go out wearing Truth About Drugs T-shirts and attire, or Youth for Human Rights, or whatever the front group is that we were sponsoring or promoting, that weekend. And we would never disclose that we were Scientologists. We would go up and we would be giving out the Way to Happiness booklets, for example, or we'd be giving out Truth About Drug booklets. And we would be saying, hey, we're just a local group that want to support, development in this area. We've got these non-religious secular books that we've created that are free for people to take. And we'd go into shops and say, would you mind if we leave some on the counter for your customers to take? And 9 times out of 10, the shopkeeper would go, yeah, sure. Why not? No problem. If it's not religious or anything, fine. And we'd go, thank you very much. Then we'd stand there for a picture to be taken by Gold at the time, which is now Scientology Media Productions. And it is all just a PR front. Scientology don't actually care about helping the local community. They just care about getting a good photo opportunity so that they can publicize their good work in the community so that they come across as a more legitimate organization than they actually are. So that's how this works. But let's carry on. United for Human Rights is one of Scientology's many social betterment programs, which sits in the PR division of the organization as a tool to claim legitimacy and public benefit. They claim these programs are run independently of the church and are secular in nature. However, the materials are based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard, which Scientology themselves argued in a 2013 UK Supreme Court case are religious in nature. The programs include Narconon and Criminon, Scientology's drug rehabilitation and criminal reform groups, which have been independently recognized by the Charity Commission, despite Scientology itself being rejected in 1999. Another one of their programs, the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, also known as Truth About Drugs, landed itself in hot water last September after it was found to be promoting a non-existent partnership with the Metropolitan Police Force, who subsequently demanded the Scientologists to remove their logo from the website. Now, this is something that Jeff Beaumont, PTS for Life, another ex-Scientologist who came over to the UK from Canada to protest the year before last. Great guy. He and his wife actually started doing the digging and the work on this, and they found out that the Truth About Drugs website had all of these police logos for police forces across the world, Metropolitan Police being one of them, and contacted them all and said, did you know that your logo is being used on a Scientology website to promote a partnership with your organization? And I'm pretty sure 100% of them, or at least 80% of them, got back to Jeff and his wife Andrea and said, no, we don't have a partnership with them, and we've asked them to remove the logo. I was the one that contacted the Metropolitan Police and got a statement from their press office which said we did not approve of that use of our logo. We don't have a partnership with these people, and they subsequently removed that logo. So this is what I mean when I say that the front groups Scientology use are just a PR front so that they can try and come across as more legitimate. Their websites claim that they have these partnerships with people that they don't actually exist. So let's carry on. This is a picture of the St. Hilaire magazine that is referenced in the article. United for Human Rights petition drive and distribution in Croydon. Now, perhaps most worrying of all is the number of children in this photo. Children cannot consent. Children are just going to do what their parents tell them to do. And if their parents are Scientologists, they're going to get their children to go and do their dirty work for them. They're going to bring their children along and try and get them to spread the message of L. Ron Hubbard to the people, especially of Croydon in this instance, which is, as I said, one of the most deprived, poorest areas of London. Now, the reason they use children is because children are cute and adorable, and you can't say no to a child that comes into your shop and says, please can I put some booklets on your counter to help people in the area? And people, of course, shopkeepers are going to go, yeah, fine, yeah, do it, of course, because it's a child. No one thinks that a child is up to anything nefarious. When I was a child, when I was in Scientology, they put me front and center in a lot of these photos at London Org because I was a kid and I would go in in and I would say, can I put these leaflets and flyers on your reception desk, you know, if it was a spa or something, or in a shop, can I put it on your counter, and then get a picture? And they would take a picture of me with a thumbs up and giving the leaflets over, and the shopkeeper, and then it would be used to promote these front groups and the good work that Scientology is doing. That's why they use children, because children are malleable and they don't realize that what they're actually doing is promoting an organization that is engaging in harmful, abusive practices, because they're a part of it and they don't realize that that's what's going on. Let's carry on. This is the article itself. On Saturday, 4th of January, volunteers participated in a human rights distribution with 1,000 What Are Human Rights booklets handed out to pedestrians and stores in the community. The public were receptive of the information and curious about it, and shop owners were very happy to take the booklets for their customers to read. This is what some of the public said. This is such an important thing for people to be aware of. Thank you for spreading awareness. Thank you. This will make a real difference in the community. And here are the sort of pictures that I was talking about. I'll have to dig out. I'm pretty sure I still have a flyer from when I was on staff and I was doing this same thing. But the key here is get a photo of every time you're giving a leaflet out or every time you're giving a booklet to a store, because it's used for public promotion purposes, not because they actually want to help people. So here they've got 2 volunteers giving out 1 leaflet to this person. They've got a volunteer here handing booklets over to a shopkeeper, it looks like, or at least someone in a shop. Now, one of the things that we would do as staff members is we would have a statistic of the number of booklets that we've given out. So we have to give out more booklets than we did last week, for example. And what we would do, we realized quickly that a good way of getting our stats up is, instead of giving out flyers or booklets one by one to people passing by on the street, we could give a box of booklets to a store which has 10 or 15 booklets in it and just leave it on their counter for people to take. And that would enable us to say that we've given out 15 booklets when all we've had to do is speak to one person and give them a box. So it's stat pushing is what it's called in Scientology. It's trying to inflate your statistics to make it look like you did more than you actually did. So that's why they go into shops, is because they are able to just give a bulk load to them and say, look, you guys give these out, or just leave them for people to take. But that means I can go away and say, I've given out 20 booklets or 100 booklets or whatever it may be. Rather than stand there on the street and try and give a booklet to 1,000 people, they probably went to like 10 shops and gave them 100 books or something like that, as well as giving them out to people on the street for the photo opportunity. Here are some more pictures. Again, I've blurred the faces of them giving these booklets to people. Here we go. Here's another one in a shop with the shopkeeper holding up the booklet. Now, the conversation would have been something like this. Hey, I'm a local volunteer and we're trying to promote the human rights in the local area. Would you mind us giving you some booklets? And the shopkeeper probably went, yeah, okay, no problem. And if they asked if it was religious, they would say, no, it's not religious, because on paper, these front groups are separate from the Church of Scientology. However, they should really be disclosing that this is a campaign sponsored by the Church of Scientology. The materials are printed by the Church of Scientology. They are being distributed by staff members from the Church of Scientology, and they are all based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. However, that is not something that was disclosed when I was doing this, at least, because we knew that if we were to say this is a Scientology initiative, people would probably say, no, I'm all right, thank you. And that would make our jobs harder. So my question is, did they disclose that they were Scientologists working for the Church of Scientology when doing this in Croydon? Because when you consider Croydon as one of the most deprived and poorest areas of London, they need genuine help and support from the community. They don't need exploitation from a harmful, abusive cult that likes to prey upon the vulnerable, which is what Scientology is, in my experience, at least anyway. Let's carry on with this article. According to the 2021 census, the population of Croydon is around 390,800, meaning Scientology's campaign to distribute 1,000 flyers reached just 0.25% of local residents. Now, let's not forget, Scientology claims to be the fastest growing religion on planet Earth, and they really care about the Croydon and the local people, and that's why they're doing this, distributing booklets far and wide. They gave out 1,000 booklets. If every single one of those was read, which I doubt they would have been, most of them would have ended up in the bin. If they were all read, they would have reached not even half of 1% of the population of Croydon. That is the effectiveness of Scientology's social betterments programs. And those are the statistics thanks to the census data that the Office of National Statistics has provided. There is no doubt it is important to be aware of human rights, but it's also important to note Scientology's effort to distribute information on the topic is widely considered to be a smokescreen PR stunt orchestrated to provide a defense to the accusations of human trafficking, child labor, and modern slavery that have plagued their organization for decades. Scientology claim to be the fastest growing religion on planet Earth and say they have millions of members worldwide. If that were the case, and if they truly cared about informing the public about their human rights, perhaps one might expect to see numbers more like 10,000 or 100,000 flyers distributed in Croydon, especially considering the average Scientologist donates over £20,000 per year to the church, and all its materials are produced in-house by Sea Org staff who work 14 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week, with no time off, for a weekly stipend of just £50. So it's not even like they can claim we're a small charity, we don't have the budget to produce that many booklets, we can't afford to print more and distribute more. They have billions of dollars in the bank and they produce everything in-house, and they do not pay their staff who are producing these leaflets or these booklets. So it's not like they can use finance as an excuse for not doing a better job. They are simply failing. That is my assessment, at least. That is the end of the article. As I said, if you want to go and read the article and take your time over it, you can use the link down below. Let's have a little look at some of these comments and questions that I've been starring as we go along. Storm Pogglesworth, question: how anti-psychology are Scientologists? That's a great question. Scientology considers psychology. Scientology considers psychology, psychiatry, any sort of mental health support to be dangerous. In fact, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, CCHR, exists to eradicate psychiatry. They believe psychologists aren't quite as bad as psychiatrists, but they are nonetheless harmful people that are trying to infiltrate society and brainwash people, which is kind of hypocritical considering that's what they are doing, or at least that's what the Foster Report and the Lord Justice Leahy ruled in the High Court here in the UK in the 1980s. Let's have a little look. F. Sciento London says they should at least choose a part of London where potential recruits actually have money. Well, look, this is the thing. United for Human Rights and these front groups serve two purposes. Number one, it's recruitment. It gives people the opportunity to engage with members of the public and spread the good word of Scientology. But most importantly, it's a PR thing. They are only doing this because they want the photo opportunity and they want to be able to claim that they are helping the local community. They aren't doing it necessarily to recruit. That is one aspect of it, but mostly it's just about getting photos for their newsletter, especially when you consider March 13th is coming up soon, which is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. There is a big international celebration every year of L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, even though he died in 1986. And that's where they look at the good work Scientology has been doing and its expansion over the year. And so there is a big drive in the months leading up to March 13th to try and capture as much on footage as they possibly can of Scientologists doing outreach projects so that Dave Miscavige has something to show at this big event when he trots up on stage. So that is a big aspect of it. But mostly Scientology are just building evidence that they are doing good work, so that when people call them out for being a human trafficking cult or being a group that abuses and harms its members, they can say, no, we don't do that. Look at us doing work preaching about human rights. We don't abuse people's human rights. We know about human rights. And here are 1,000 photos of our volunteers giving out booklets about human rights to people. We would never do that. It's all a smokescreen. SP Crusader comment: it's the same for CCHR booklet we got in London. Yes. Last year, we protested outside the Citizens Commission of Human Rights. They had a pop-up exhibition on the King's Road in Chelsea. That was a very affluent area. And again, it's just a PR front. When they're giving out these booklets, they are counting how many booklets they're giving out so that they can count it as a statistic. And they just want to get the pictures. Danielle Chamberlain comment: they usually target people with low self-esteem, as these people are more open to hearing they can be made to feel better. or they promise people love, salvation, and self-confidence. Exactly. That's 100% it, Danielle. I couldn't have said it better myself. Scientology like to exploit people's vulnerabilities. In fact, it's actually in the sales pattern that you have to learn as a Scientology recruiter, that you have to invade someone's privacy in order to sell them a Scientology book. It is written in the doctrine to manipulate people's emotions and find their vulnerabilities and exploit that into a sale. What they want to do is find out what's ruining your life so that you are effect, and therefore Scientology can be presented as the solution to that. So that's another reason they go for deprived areas, not just because these people have money. They probably don't have as much money as if they were to recruit in Westminster, but they are potentially in more vulnerable situations. And that is where Scientology look for people. That's prime for the picking for them. Storm Pugglesworth again, the Scientology cross, when you don't have your glasses on, really looks like a Christian cross. That's because it is a Christian cross. It just has a little X behind it. It's actually 8 points, because the idea is each point is one of the 8 dynamics of life. But I like to think of it as a cross because I'm an ex-Scientologist. And that's why my logo at Postate Alex has an X behind it, because it kind of looks like the Scientology logo, but mostly it's an X because I'm a former Scientologist. Christian B, oh, I never catch an Alex live. Well, you're here, welcome, and thank you. F Sciento London, are you planning a London Org party on the 13th this year? That is a very good question, and the answer at the moment is no, but that may change. Who knows? Watch this space is what I will say. There is something coming up between now and then that I can't wait to share with you that you guys are going to love. I'm sure it's not a protest, but it is something in the works, and I can't wait to share more with you. SP Crusader, Alex, that comment was about the police badges. They are in the CCHR booklet too. Well, okay, there we go. Fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. Send me pictures, Leni, and we will look into that. I have established quite good relationships with press teams at various governmental organizations, police forces, and so on. And I'm sure they would be very interested to hear about their logos being used. And I would be interested to know whether they gave permission for that. So yeah, send me a picture. I'd be interested to know. So guys, that's it from me for now. There is a lot happening. I'm on a roll with these live streams. I've got another live stream booked tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow, so I'm going to be live streaming with Vanessa LaRose. We're going to be talking about Valentine's Day and love in Scientology, or the lack thereof. Over the weekend, I've got a couple of stories coming out on Scientology business, and of course a live stream with Danielle over the weekend too. So stay tuned for that. And guys, if you want to support my activism and you like what I'm doing here, please give the video a thumbs up. You can also support through Buy Me a Coffee using the link down below, or PayPal, that sort of stuff. If you want to financially contribute, all of the money I earn from this channel goes back into my activism, and it would be greatly appreciated. But otherwise, leave a comment down below once the video has finished live streaming, and I'll see you guys on the next one.